The chorale of pain and suffering fades down to nothing. Subaru's thoughts focus on only one thing, his resolve to face his father, standing right before him. "I've got someone I like, even though it's me," he repeats his answer. In voicing it again, Subaru recognizes that his heart is beginning to walk. Kenichi blinks at the confession, realizing that what Subaru just said diverges from the flow of how that conversation was going. "Do you now?" He must have known all along, but he had people who would listen to him like this, and yet he kept his mouth shut for so long. Now Subaru thought it was about time to end that, because if he did, there was someone there who'd push him forward. I do. I'm not some brat who just curls up into a little ball in his room anymore." Even Subaru doesn't know how much he's really changed. Even while insisting he's not a brat, he has enough self-awareness to recognize that he is. He used to be worse than a brat. Now, he had just finally accepted that he was one. That was all. And even that was something he certainly hadn't achieved by himself. The silver face drifting in his mind tickles at Subaru's chest. That face with the light which gave a motionless, stagnant, frozen Subaru heat. Silver, fundamentally a cold color. But here it transmitted Subaru an incredible warmth, the strength to step forward, and as if floating on that heat. I remember now what I was scared of, why I withdrew into a ball, everything. No, it's that I already knew everything. I knew and I pretended I didn't, while I feigned ignorance about my weakness. That only I noticed. There was someone who he couldn't fool. He knew who. I wanted you and Mom to slap me. Kenichi goes quiet. I wanted you two to slap the useless, minuscule, paltry, idiotic, complacent garbage that I was. I wanted to make you give up. Kenichi's silent gaze doesn't waver. Subaru sees himself reflected in irises the color of his own, his fundamentally sharp eyes looking weaker than ever. I used to be good at doing everything. I was running, studying. I could immediately do things my friends couldn't. It was actually mystifying why no one else could do them. Call it a child's conceit or an adorable feeling of omnipotence. Yup, you're definitely his son. That was the appraisal he heard from adults and people in the neighborhood endlessly, knowing that he was his dad. Those around him had recognized him as being his father's son. For young Subaru, hearing those words was a point of pride. Even from his son's eyes, his dad, Subaru's father, Natsuki Kenichi was a character of great allure. Laughed a lot, talked a lot, cried a lot, angered a lot, moved a lot, worked a lot. He was constantly standing in the middle of a crowd of people's smiles. His father was Subaru's greatest pride, and that inspired in Subaru a sense of superiority so strong as to be the pride of hubris. I want to be like my father. I want to be like my father. As far as young Subaru was concerned, the size of his father's back was the size of the world itself, the world being something he viewed only from atop his father's shoulders. And so, Subaru spent his days with happiness inside happiness. But when did it start? I don't really remember, but I think it was when I lost to someone in a foot race. Since then, I stopped being the best at things I always used to excel at. What used to be my best grew smaller and smaller. I started thinking it was all pointless. Yup, you're definitely his son. Hearing those words was Subaru's salvation, a hope to cling to. Even if he wasn't the fastest, wasn't the smartest, those words were what supported young Subaru's dignity. Because what's the big deal about studying or being a fast runner? Making everyone smile and laugh seemed way cooler to me. And I was way better at it. I quickly learned that if I kept that up, I would have to do something bigger and bigger. I couldn't make them think I was boring. Yup, you're definitely his son. And if anyone asked why he was doing those things, his answer was that he was Natsuki Subaru. Yes, because that had to be Natsuki Subaru. Natsuki Subaru was braver than anyone, wilder than anyone, freer than everyone, and had to keep being an existence everyone admired. He was continuing through the strain. He fooled both himself and the people around him. That he could do more, and so much more. After all, he was the son of Natsuki Kenichi, Natsuki Subaru. I figured I could do anything. I made myself believe I would do anything, so that way I could convince everyone around me that I would do anything. So, the things I did became progressively dumber. Like an insect lured to a flame, unaware of the burn, desiring the heat. Had he truly been a bug, Subaru would have been so enchanted by the fire, he would have burned to nothing. But Subaru wasn't an insect, and his friends around him were infinitely more human than him too. I was out of control. I knew they were idiots. I wanted them to believe that they couldn't have this much fun without me. That we'd break up the boring times with or without regrets. So I decided that I would set my sights even higher. If he continued to search for the stars' whereabouts, he would settle everything without losing sight of the stars above his head. But the supposedly endless stars, which blanketed the sky, disappeared until only one single twinkling light remained, which Subaru stared at, ran towards, and suddenly, when he looked down from the starry sky to the ground. But the next thing I knew, when I took a good look around, I found that there was no one left but me. Subaru never looked back to what was around him, endlessly pursuing stars invisible to everyone. The friends who thought it was fun at first couldn't keep up with it. Still, no ending point in sight. There was the escalation of inhibition. That shining, bright star that was supposed to be hanging above my head. When I took a good look at it, there was nothing really all that special about it. I was never anyone special. You can tell just by going outside and wandering around town. Wherever you go, wherever you look, traces of where you had been. Well, of course there would be. Like, flowing thing. At school, he was as submissive as a weed in the shade. But at home, he was recovering his old wildness. Because that's how Subaru acted, as if he were two different people. Tales of his war stories after coming back home from school made his mother grin as she did chores. and brought a smile to his work-tired father's face. Perhaps his parents had noticed that every single word out of his mouth was bullshit. Even now, Subaru wasn't sure that they knew. From that moment on, I tried my best to be invisible, doing my best. Not really to stand out. And that's how I made it through middle school. But after that, well, I really blew my high school debut. I mean, I never really had any real friends, not at middle school or elementary. So of course, why would high school have been any different? Entering high school, a new place, a mass of unknown faces, yet uncertain relations. There, even if people judged Subaru as Natsuki Subaru, there would surely not be a single person simultaneously judging him as Natsuki Kenichi's son. And there, then maybe, just maybe, he would again see the light of the starry sky he had lost. When someone who never really established connections getting past elementary, middle school, and they're breathing ragged and nasally in front of a room of unknown faces, forcing it all down, and then they go on to do something ridiculous, well, even an idiot knows what happens. Even the actions which would earn smiles when he was young, now when performed in a school appropriate for persons welcoming their secondary sexual characteristics and accordant mental changes, were nothing but poison. Poison's poison, deadly poison. And it was one of those real conspicuous red and white speckled mushrooms. I'm a deadly poison, eat me and you die! Ones too. I don't want to go to school today. One day, I just laid there and was thinking, I don't want to go to school. It was, I think, a day you and Mom had been out. So I just laid there through the time when I would usually wake up. And when I did rush to get myself up, I went to stand up to rush to get dressed. That's when he noticed that his heart and body were terribly calm. When attending class, sitting at a seat beside the window, pretending to be asleep, and wordlessly letting time pass, fear and anxiety constantly tormented Subaru's heart. It wasn't that he was being bullied. It wasn't that he was even being ignored. It was simply that Subaru had built up a wall from his side. The thought of touching someone's kindness and winding up embracing hope terrified him. Whenever he thought of possibly seeing the starlight again, unease took him. I would skip school once a week, then every 3 days, and sometimes I would even skip one of those days too. It didn't even take 3 months before I just stopped going altogether. But for some reason, you and Mom just treated me the same way, like it didn't make a difference. If a beloved son was deemed as something useless, then that would surely anger them, sadden them. People seeing them would know their circumstances were pathetic, and they would further look down on them. The thinner the relationship between Subaru and his parents became, the more that concern would disappear, and things would surely improve. And so, Natsuki Subaru, I really wanted you all to say, I don't love you, I hate you, or maybe even, you are not my son. I wanted you all to say those things, to throw me out. I wanted you to force me to give it all up. anticipating the presence of stars which shouldn't exist. A hope still flickering, he looked up at the sky. That pathetic, unmanly human called Subaru. That idiotic being unworthy of being Natsuki Kenichi's son wanted to be free. Not even Subaru himself had realized that this was what laid in his heart. But now...
Well, I love you, Subaru-kun.
A dim, flickering blue light now overlapped with the silver face beneath his eyelids. A gentle breeze blew into Subaru's heart, filling his chill limbs with warmth, restoring him.
Let's start here, from square one. No, from zero.
Kenichi closed his eyes and goes quiet after hearing Subaru's long monologue. Seeing that Subaru desperately forces his coming weakness and spinelessness back down his throat. Subaru! Kenichi opens his eyes. This draws Subaru out of a sea of meditation and back to the reality around him, to his father's face before him, and... Father Headbutt! Yo! See that, Subaru? That was my love-filled father headbutt. A strike of anger. You call that a headbutt? That was an axe kick! But man, my body really has gotten stiffer. Absolutely can't get like before. Been slacking on my after-bath stretches. And so, Kenichi starts doing some calisthenics. Subaru rubs his stricken head, half in tears, unsure how to react to this expectedly unexpected reaction. What Subaru anticipated was... But Subaru, you're... Man, you're kind of an idiot. You're damn wearing like na. Where from me and Mom did you get that tumorous thinking? You're inheriting that straight from your mother's little brother. You know, the tiny, bald, fat one? The one who always looks so worried? That's going too far. No, but, I mean, yes, Uncle is the reason I decided on not going bald or getting fat as benchmarks on my life. Lots of the things you said are getting at me, but the biggest one's that. Ain't fond of you thinking you're trying to get me to hate you. And then being so passive about it. Holed up in your room, never going to school, turning into an apathy syndrome patient. And thinking that doing that was gonna make your father flip out and scold you. Are you an idiot? You want to get told off? You a girl with the wrong idea who didn't get enough love growing up? All the wrestling we did this morning, and that's still really not enough for you? You don't even get villains like this in shonen manga anymore. That's ridiculous! For me, what you just said is as ridiculous as that. Subaru goes speechless. Kenichi bends down to match Subaru's eye level. Even if you're slow as a snail, or too dumb for times tables, or go bragging on some self-harm blog for attention, I'm not even that dumb or slow, or even idiotic. Even if you were that slow, dumb, or idiotic, I wouldn't hate you or abandon you. Isn't that obvious? After all, I'm your father, and you're my son. Kenichi straightens his back. Anyway, you sure do treat me like some Superman. From what you're saying, I'm like some super high-tech, mega, giga, perfect, flawless, super Ultraman. That's all redundant. You don't know this, but my worrying, regretting, failing, crying, wailing, getting rejected doesn't happen very much. 'Cause my face is good. You didn't get my looks, though. Presumptuous? I was inexperienced too when I was your age. I mean, yes, my name did get pretty big, but that didn't mean I was anyone special. Just that I was a bit of a time stopper. Then you should have stopped time last year when you got hit by a car. Badoomsh. Kenichi offers his hand out for a high five, which Subaru has to reciprocate. And Kenichi grabs Subaru's arm tight. Now I suppose it's fine to keep twisting my stupid idiot pain in the ass son's wrist to knock that personality out of him, but... Ow, 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 my wrist! Oh! But it looks like you've already been knocked down and gotten back up, so it looks like that's really not going to be necessary. Kenichi strains his back and continues listening. There are people who don't know that I'm Natsuki Kenichi's son. And they like me. There are people who like me. That warm blue light gently pushes Natsuki Subaru's back forward. And they don't know anything about me being your son. When I'm with them, I'm not Natsuki Kenichi's son. I'm just Natsuki Subaru. No. Subaru shakes his head and looks his father straight in the eyes. No matter who I was with, I was just Natsuki Subaru, burdening myself and bothering myself with some weird outer show and crushed beneath an imaginary weight. I can finally understand that now. Yeah. I'm this full of energy when I'm with you and your mom. But, you know, your dad does know proper TPO. Maybe you don't know that since this is how I'm always am with you, but if your dad does these things with everyone, they're gonna recoil. Wait. Isn't it obvious? Seeing someone this high energy on the first meeting, you are not gonna approach. This stuff's off limits until we're already friendly. Since I wait till it's a little hotter to unbutton. I endure from an April start to a June end. The shocking truth turns out Subaru's dad was a sensible guy who properly adapts his behavior to who he's talking to get along. Ignorant of this, referencing off his regular dad, if I act like my dad, everyone will definitely, absolutely, no mistake, like me, was Subaru's shallowness. Then what was the point of all that time I was stagnant for? Well, I don't think it was useless. It's because you had that you are who you are now. Do those stars you found really not make up for that time? Subaru raises his head. The reply comes to him instantly. Yes, they do. No matter how many chances I have, I'm going to keep wanting and running for the sky of stars I have now. So I'm glad I am who I am now. Right? Well, so, wasn't it all good then? Kenichi smiles in relief, seeing that smile. Something hard, heavy, and swollen inside Subaru's chest drops. He senses the darkness he harbored clearing, his melancholy being cleansed. I'm sorry for keeping quiet on this so much. I was full of feelings I couldn't even sort out myself and caused problems with you, with my truancy. I truly do regret it. Truly. I'm gonna say don't worry about it. It's my mistake for not noticing you were too into that too super me. I'm the one who should be sorry. For being too big of a presence for you. It's completely true, but it's amazing how little I want to accept it now. Don't be shy. You're my son with my blood in you. Definitely you're an amazing genius who has it in him to be half as cool as I am. Just half? You know, geniuses are something that gets more refined with each generation. Because half of you's from your mom. Considering my coolness and negotiation skills feels like they counterbalance the negatives from Nanako, which are sometimes way too strong. I'm sorry, Mom. I don't have a counter to that. But this took some of the load off your shoulders, right? Nothing more to do about that than move on. I caused so much trouble for you. I'm If you're thinking sorry, then just take the time to properly pay me back. Just promise to look after me and your mom when we get older, alright? Hearing that, Subaru goes still. I'm so sorry. Subaru? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. A torrent of tears blots out of Subaru's vision, turning the world blurry. He covers his face with his hands and frantically wipes at the flowing tears. But no matter how hard he does, the tears don't stop. They don't stop. They won't stop. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. You too, anymore. I'm so sorry. He realized it. Somewhere within his heart, he had realized it long ago. From the instant that he narrowed his eyes at the brilliance of the New World sunlight, Subaru knew, as if it were writ, he would never be able to return to his old world. He had conveyed his deepest of hearts to his father, confessed the dark feelings lodged in his chest, nevertheless gained forgiveness and received support for his resolve to start walking again, and had been raised well enough to be capable of all of it. Even after everything, I won't be able to make anything up to you. I'll probably never even see you two again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The tears don't stop, the emotion so intense he might fall into a squat at any moment. But even so, Subaru remains standing upright, and what's keeping him from collapsing is the body holding him in embrace. With his large, firm hands about the same height as his son, Kenichi holds a bawling Subaru tight and soothingly taps him on the back, saying, "You were always such a difficult son, I swear." Soothing, lovingly, Kenichi maintains the embrace indefinitely. Calm down yet? Yeah, sorry, I really just caused so many problems. Yo, seriously, just look at my shirt. Chest bit's gotten all flaky with snot and tears. So embarrassing I can't go crawling around the neighborhood like this. Subaru's stopped crying. Kenichi bounces his finger off Subaru's forehead and laughs. Subaru watches Kenichi. His own face thoroughly cried out, his gaze sorrowful and apologetic. Kenichi sighs. Don't know why you started bawling, but I bet that was embarrassing. So I'll keep it a secret for you. Now express to me your gratefulness. Yeah, I'm grateful. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. More than anyone in the world, I'm grateful. Man, even I'm gonna blush hearing that one. Kenichi scratches his cheek and smiles embarrassingly. Subaru can't keep looking at Kenichi's face there for long, and winds up averting his gaze. Kenichi shrugs and waves his hands, as if flicking a bug away. Now home and home you go, blubberbug. Your dad feels like strolling a little bit longer, so I'll take a bit of a detour back. Some weird rumors are gonna start circling if I go around with you crying like that. What a parent and child our age were up to, together would be a story in itself. Seriously, we go home together now and your friends' rumors will embarrass you hard. That line can be fatal depending on who you're saying it to, so be careful how you use it. Unintentionally entering straight man mode, a lash of homesickness spears Subaru's heart. Subaru grits his teeth to stifle the feeling. Dead, and turns his face away. So, I'll be going home. Ahead. Try not to get interrogated or whatever. Sorry to crush your expectations, but all the policemen around here are my buddies. They're not gonna give me anything, even if I prompt them. Don't prompt them. Same as Kenichi ever was. Subaru again feels Kenichi's attitude save him, and feels thoroughly sick of his same old weakness as before. Just how far was he going to go, feeling satisfied with relying on others to protect him? Hopeless. And further, he didn't want to expose his weakness before Kenichi. Subaru gives a sharp sigh, turns around and starts walking, quickly to soon disappear from the scene. Hey, Subaru. I'm sure you got a lot of stuff on your mind, so I'll keep it down to just one thing. Do your best. I'm expecting things from you, son. Yeah, leave it to me, Dad. His back still turned to Kenichi. He jabs his finger into the heavens. My name is Natsuki Subaru, son of Natsuki Kenichi. So I can do anything, and will do anything. Your son's damn amazing! Yep, I know that. After all, half a use from me. Kenichi's hearty laugh pours over Subaru's back. A smile raises on Subaru's face. Back still turned, Subaru starts walking. His knees shake not. His heart wavers not. He simply looks firmly ahead and walks. With the owner of his back, he had always started up. And now, staring at his back, he walks. Never stopping, Subaru walks on.